Welcome to Conversations with Big Rich. This is an interview-style podcast. These interviewed are all involved in the off-road industry. Being involved, like all of my guests are, is a lifestyle, not just a job. I talk to past, present, and future legends, as well as business owners, employees, media, and land use warriors. Men and women who have found their way into this exciting and addictive lifestyle we call off-road. We discuss their personal history, struggles, successes, and reboots. We dive into what drives them to stay active in off-road. We all hope to shed some light on how to find a path into this world that we live and love and call off-road.
Whether you're crawling the Red Rocks of Moab or hauling your toys to the trail, Maxxis has the tires you can trust for performance and durability. 4 wheels or 2. Maxxis tires are the choice of champions because they know that whether for work or play, for fun or competition, Maxxis tires deliver. Choose Maxxis. Tread victoriously.
Have you seen 4Low magazine yet? 4Low magazine is a high-quality, well-written, four-wheel drive focused magazine for the enthusiast market. If you still love the idea of a printed magazine, something to save and read at any time, 4Low is the magazine for you. 4Low cannot be found in stores, but you can have it delivered to your home or place of business. Visit 4lowmagazine.com to order your subscription today. On this week's episode of Conversations with Big Rich, I'll be speaking with a couple who are enjoying life together. One of those couples that are stronger and better together than apart. Rock crawlers George and Lora Leyner. George and Lora, it's great to have you guys on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to finding out your guys' history, not only individually as you grew up, but also together and how you guys got into rock crawling. This will be fun.
Hello.
Hi.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, okay. So let's get started with George. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado.
Wow, another one. Okay. I had just interviewed Michael Brazzanini, and it's where he was born.
I didn't realize Brassanini was born in Boulder. I knew he was from Colorado, though.
Yeah, he was born in Boulder and then grew up in mostly in Island Park area or the southeast Idaho there. Okay. And Lora, how about yourself? Where were you born and raised?
I was born in California, but I've kind of lived a little bit of everywhere. My mom was in the military for 24 years, so I kind of bounced around with her a lot.
Ah, military
I
brat.
I consider Colorado home, though. That's probably where I've spent most of my life and the place I've enjoyed the most.
Excellent.
Aside from Utah now.
Yeah, Shelley was a military brat. She was born in Germany, but was
nice.
all over the place until high school because of her dad jumping around. Okay, so anyway, what was it like, George, growing up in Boulder for you, and how long were you in Boulder?
Oh, I was in Boulder until after graduating high school, 87. Most of my childhood, we lived in the mountains outside of Boulder. Most of my childhood was chopping firewood and taking care of the horses and riding motorcycles around the trails up there.
Don't forget your BMX.
I got into BMX racing probably about the age of 9 or 10. Did that competitively until I was 15, 16.
Nice. Did you travel a lot, or was it all there on the east slope? Front range?
I did get to travel a lot. I was very fortunate. My mom actually worked at United.
Oh.
So we got flight benefits. So made it easy for me to fly to national races across the country. I got to go to places like Florida and Pittsburgh and Ohio and California for national races.
Wow, that's awesome. That's pretty good. And was BMX your sport, or did you play any school sports?
I didn't play any school sports. I was in marching band. believe it or not. I was a band geek for
I
most
wouldn't
of
have
my.
I wouldn't have guessed that in 1,000 years.
I wouldn't have guessed I'd marry a band geek.
Well,
One summer at band camp.
yeah, I did several summers at band camp, but I was in marching band all throughout my high school years.
Wow.
Um,
Okay, what instrument?
I played trombone and tuba.
Okay. All right.
I was
At
full of hot
least you
air.
didn't say flute.
No, that was my sister.
That was your sister. Okay. No comments. And Laura, how about yourself? Are you bouncing around? Was that difficult to assimilate into the different communities that you had to live in?
Well, my childhood wasn't as glamorous as George's, but my parents divorced before I ever started school. My mom didn't go in the military until I was in middle school, but I am the youngest and only girl in my family, and my dad was a farmer. So I grew up with dirt bikes and quads and jet boats and dune buggies and all of those things. Um, it was hard in high school because I think I went to like 4 different high schools, and I did not enjoy moving around that much at all.
Yeah,
So,
especially at high school, because that's
yeah,
when you really form those relationships that can last
yep,
forever.
this is true. So that was a little rough, but um, after high school, what did I do after high school?
I don't know.
Oh, I was in Florida because my mom was stationed out there. And then from there, I went back to Colorado. And then I ended up in Texas. And then I went back to Colorado.
Oh wow.
And then I met George. And now we're in Utah.
Okay. And how were you as a student, Laura? Were you a good student? Okay. The laughter
Let's just
comes.
say I had the potential to be a really good student. Now, whether or not I was is a whole other thing.
How about
Um,
grade wise?
Um, so if I actually enjoyed the classes, I did very well on them. And if I didn't enjoy the classes, I did average,
Okay.
right
Right.
in the middle. But college, when I went to school for what I do now, I actually graduated with honors.
Oh, nice. We'll get to that here in just a moment. So, George, how about yourself? Were you a good student, or were you always looking out the window?
I was a good student my freshman and sophomore year. I carried a 3.0 average.
Okay.
Junior and senior year, not so much. I
Rebel.
I got into other things, and school wasn't one of my high priorities.
Okay. What other stuff were you getting into? Is it legal to say?
Trouble,
Trouble.
Lots
Okay.
of trouble.
trouble.
Okay. Was it the influences of the people you hung out with?
That was a big part of it. I actually shortly after high school, I went on vacation for several years in the state penitentiary.
Oh, okay. All right.
He liked to steal cars.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The,
Fast
the
and
iron,
Furious.
yeah, kind of Gone in 60 seconds
Yep.
kind of thing.
Okay.
Ironically, when I went into prison, I got into vocational auto body school that was in there, and I had a couple of instructors that were at Una Vista that actually changed my life. They pushed me really hard. They got me into the Department of Labor apprenticeship program, which was a 4-year, 8,000-hour program, which I completed. And they also got me into college program through Pikes Peak Community College. And I ended up getting an Associates of Applied Science degree for automotive refinishing and repair. Graduated with a 4.0 average. I did have a lot of time to study and write good papers at that time, so that helped.
Right. Less distractions.
Yes.
No BMX riding, of course.
No BMX riding at that time. I had kind of gotten away from the BMX my junior year, few injuries, and again started hanging out with some not so good people.
Right. We all go through periods, or a lot of us do. I was fortunate that I never got caught for anything that I did. Now, I never stole a car, except for maybe borrowing my parents when they didn't know about it. But, there was other things that could have put me at least in jail. Nothing that would have put me in a penitentiary, I think, that I know of.
Yeah,
Except for some high-speed chases that I got away from the cops.
Yeah, that's how they caught me, was a high-speed chase. I ended up going through a chain link fence on a stolen motorcycle at about 140.
Ouch. Did you do some hospital time first?
Yeah, I did about 3 weeks in Scripps, La Jolla, San Diego, before they transported me to the prison.
So you were living in Boulder, but you were in La Jolla when you wrecked, or did you get air flighted to La Jolla?
No, I was living in Boulder, and I moved to California with some company that I had worked with. I was doing asbestos abatement at the time, making good money, and I went out with father and 2 sons that ran an asbestos business. So we were actually living in Laguna Hills.
Oh.
And that was when I got arrested and in trouble.
Okay. California will do that.
Yes, it will.
So then, and then now that's your trade now, because you're still a body man.
It is, and that's, like I said, the 2 instructors I had in Buena Vista, John Close and Jim Snyder, really they cared about their students, and they made an impact on me. And I was able to get out after almost 10 years and stay out and have a very profitable career. It's done really good for me, provided a good life for myself and my daughter and my wife's.
Wife's with an S. I hear Lora say that. So then,
third time's charm.
How many?
Third time.
Laura is my third wife. Okay. Best yet.
Best yet. Yet.
Oh. Excuse you?
Oh, and the last one, trust me.
There you go. Okay, excellent. Mine was second time around, so I found a winner. I got lucky. So then, you did 10 years? That's quite the stint.
It is. It was just a little bit shy of 10 years.
Did they get you on just the stolen motorcycle?
There was several counts, along with escape from a halfway house and high-speed evading causing bodily injury or death, which was myself.
Okay. They charged you for you injuring yourself?
Yeah, well, there was a flight for life and a hospital bill that had to get paid for somehow.
Okay. So that was taking care of you working on state or county cars. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. You paid your way through. Okay, I get it. Lora, let's talk about you and what happened. You said high school was, a challenge, and then how did that change for you?
Well, I kind of just bounced around. I worked in retail management, and then I ended up pregnant with my daughter while I was still in Colorado, and decided to go to Texas where my mom was. Worked in retail management some more, and decided that I wasn't getting very far with that. And after I got married, I decided to go to school for ultrasound. I was 32 when I decided to do that. And now I've been doing it for 15 years.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Very good. And you're talking that marriage, that was a first marriage for you, not George?
Correct. I was married for 14 years.
Okay. And George, your first two, you don't have to answer it, but how long did they last?
The first one was about 3 years, and then she went pretty much crazy, and I ended up getting full custody of my then 4-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And she didn't see her birth mom from age 4 until the day she graduated high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I raised her. My second wife was, it was a blended family. Thought I was doing something good for my daughter to give her a mom and brother and sister, and that didn't work out too well. It created a lot of problems, and I ended up having to make a choice between my daughter and her, and that was a no-brainer.
Right. Okay. Okay. And how did you two meet?
We met on Bumble.
On
Yep.
Bumble. Okay.
Yeah, after my divorce, my two sister-in-laws took me out one night and they set up my Bumble account. And all it said about me was I lived in Windsor and I was an ultrasound tech. And there were 2 pictures on there. One of them, you couldn't even see my face. I was sitting on the side of the mountain in Estes Park, but I had a Vans hoodie on and I had Vans tennis shoes on. And the other picture was me with another girl. So...
Well, that
I
was
guess
encouraging for George, right?
Right? I guess the Vans drew him in.
It was the picture of her outside enjoying the outside stuff, because that's something that I truly enjoy.
Right.
Is outdoors.
And it's funny because when we finally did meet, we both said, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just want somebody to hang out and do things with.
That sounds
we
like
are.
Shelley and I.
Yeah.
We just
Here we
both
are,
wanted to
6
have
years
fun.
later. Yep.
A partner to have fun with.
Yep.
And then here we are 6 years later, and we've been married for a year. And
Coming up at Trail Hero.
Yep, Trail Hero will be
Or
1 year anniversary.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And so,
Yeah, we got married there last year.
Okay. I didn't realize that that's where you'd gotten married. Awesome.
Yeah, on the beach.
On the beach.
There you go. There you go. And George, you were outdoorsy at that point. You had gotten out of, let's see, timing wise, about 97 to 2000. You were out of trouble at that point.
Yes, sir. I got out it was late 98 that I got out, and I was doing a lot of car stuff, restoring Corvairs, showing Corvairs, worked in a shop where we did a lot of lowriders and off-road vehicles, and that's kind of what got me into off-roading again, because I grew up on dirt bikes riding around in the mountains.
Right.
And then started building. My first Jeep that I built was a 90 Wrangler that we dropped a 350 in and did a spring over and shackle reversal and half-ton axles, and took it to Moab for Moab Safari in 2000.
We may have crossed paths.
Maybe that was back when Dump Bump was still alive and active and a pretty good show.
Yeah, that's
every day.
There's a good story about Little Rich, me and a buddy standing at Dump Bump on one of the nights when there's 2,000 people out there, and everybody's watching people get stupid. And Rich was just in high school, and he was digging out holes. In fact, might have been even earlier than that. He may have still been 8th or 9th grade, somewhere in there. And he was digging holes in the dark. And then, as things that were like, 12, 16 inches in diameter and like 6 inches deep. So people would be walking in the dark, holding a beer or whatever, and then step in the fucking hole and just eat shit, right? And he probably dug 50 holes. And
I would have loved to have seen that.
We were just standing there laughing. Oh my God, it was hilarious. People would go, "What the hell?"
I could see him doing that, actually.
And then the cops showed up. Everybody went running. Me and my partner and Little Rich just sat there, and because there was a lot of underage people there, and those were all the people that went running. All the people that were of age just sat there and like, "Why? What's up? What's the problem?" And it was no big deal, but those were some pretty fun times back there.
Yes, they were.
So did you get to Moab a lot?
I used to go to Moab back then. We went for once or twice a year from Colorado out with a group of guys that I wheeled with. And then when I married my second wife, I kind of got out of off-roading for a while until one of my buddies got married. He actually got married on the top of Moab Rim about 2006, 2007. And that kind of got the bug going again in me.
Right. How did everybody get to the top of the hill? Did they have somebody?
We all had rigs, so we just
Okay.
kind of drove everybody up in our YJs and Cherokees, and they were all pretty well built.
Nice. And Lora, you were outdoorsy. You were a tech, ultrasound tech, and how did you get involved? I mean, you grew up, you said, around all sorts of things, correct?
Correct.
How did you how did you get involved, or did you not get really into off road until George?
So both of my brothers had side by sides, and I would come visit and go do things with them, like in Breckenridge. And then once I moved back to Colorado, I started to go up to Walden with them, and then Moab. And then I met George, and I had never been rock crawling before. So I fell in love with it. It is so much fun. I very rarely ever get out of the passenger seat.
Nope.
I'm in there probably about 95% of the time.
Okay, good.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't get out unless it gets really stupid. Her first time rock crawling was in my 87 4Runner on board 37 stickies, and we went through Penrose.
And he broke his axle.
And I broke the rear axle to the point to the caliper was the only thing holding the wheel on. And here I am with a woman that I'm trying to impress, and we're doing trail repairs in the middle of Penrose to get it out.
Well,
Yep.
At least she figured out that you were handy,
Yes, I did.
and that's an important trait.
With your little, what is that jack called?
Oh, the little hydraulic jack?
Yeah, that was
Very small hydraulic jacks.
sitting on top of stacked rocks.
Totally safe.
Exactly. Not OSHA approved at all.
But that's a Toyota thing anyway.
Yes, it is.
37 stickies on Toyota axles.
Yep.
Yeah. Stock axles especially. Yeah.
Yeah, at that time I didn't even have RCVs.
Right. So what kind of vehicles have you owned?
I had the Jeep, the 90 Jeep Wrangler for a while. Sold that after my first divorce, and then I also built a 95 4Runner that I did a solid axle swap and a 10-inch bob on the back with custom body work, of course, because that's what I do for a living. Mostly Toyotas. I've had probably 12 or 13 Toyota 4Runners over the years.
Wow.
I made him build his buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The buggy.
Yes, I did. He got the chassis as a divorce present from his last marriage, and apparently
Wait. Okay. Let's go into that a little deeper. That was your or do you mean is that was all that you were able to take along with your clothes?
No,
Okay.
actually, my buddies back in Colorado, I had gone with one of them to pick up some tires, and he was buying them from Josh Pat.
Okay.
And I went down with him, and Josh showed us the chassis that he had, and it's actually an old Campbell chassis. It was the Psychobilly Cadillac, so it was his IFS car from '03, but it was just the bare chassis, no engine, nothing else. And I kind of fell in love with it. I thought it'd be really cool. Didn't have the money or anything to do anything with it. And about 2 months later, I got a call from my buddy, and he had me come down to the shop, and there was a chassis sitting in the back of his little Toyota pickup.
Huron?
Yep, Huron and Romney. They all my buddies got it, pitched in, and they bought the chassis for me to build as a divorce present.
Wow, that's some good friends.
Yeah, but it sat there.
And then it sat for about a year,
Well,
year and a
after a
half.
divorce, you probably needed to get some bank funds, right?
Yep. Yep. And I needed to find the right woman to push me.
There you go.
And we ended up, when it was 2020, January 1st, 2020, we were at a New Year's Eve party with our friends, and one of them was going to get proposed to his girlfriend in Moab, or in Sand Hollow, last week of March. And we used to do 2 group trips out to either Moab or Sand Hollow. And she said, "You're going to get that buggy done by that time, because we're not going back to Sand Hollow with the 4Runner, because every time we'd bring it out, we'd blow shit up."
Right.
So I let him. I told him I just needed Valentine's Day, and he could spend the rest of the time working on the buggy, and I wouldn't get mad.
Very good. See, now
So
that's a keeper right there.
Yeah, that was the first sign that I had a keeper.
Excellent.
And I spent a lot of hours in the shop. I built it from just the bare tube chassis to running, driving, and out to Sand Hollow in just over 3 months.
You know, when I saw that chassis, it looked familiar, but I didn't realize that was the Psychobilly chassis.
I worked real hard to keep the lines similar,
right,
to pay homage, and that's one of the reasons why we run the rear wings that we run, the side panels.
Okay.
Because the original chassis, I actually have the original supports for the wings, and did it to pay homage to OG, because I like the OG stuff.
Right. Now, I remember when
that
buggy first showed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't work very well on the rocks.
No, it was more of a go fast.
Yep.
But that's what everybody was trying to do. Everybody back then, it was V8s, and how fast, everybody thought you needed that big horsepower to make the climbs. And now we've learned, nope, that's not necessary.
This is true.
So you did have to widen it a little.
You had to widen it a little?
Yeah, the chassis itself, the main section of the chassis is still the original chassis, right down to the Zeus fastener tabs. I redid the front section for the motor, and then the back section, I had to widen the roof quite a bit because it was a single seat car.
Right. Okay. And how long did that take you to put all together?
3 months.
Wow, that's good.
I used the drivetrain out of the 4Runner that we had that was affectionately called the short bus, because it was yellow, school bus yellow. But engine, transmission, transfer case, and axles all came out of that.
Wow. Okay.
We've upgraded since then.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember it breaking axles as easily.
No, our first competition, which would have been in Rangeley.
Was that Super Cool?
No, our first one was Weed Rock in Rangeley.
But I didn't spot for you.
You did not spot for me then. It still had Toyota axles on it on 37s.
Okay. And now you're running 60s?
I'm running 60s front and rear on 40s.
Okay. And Laura, how much work did you put into the building of the car, or just motivation?
I gave all of my support. That was all you got from me. He would talk and talk and talk, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Sounds good. Whatever you think.
Excellent. And what was that first trip out to Sand Hollow with it like?
That was a lot of fun. We had a blast with it. It did a lot better than I was expecting, because I'm not a professional buggy builder, and that was my first attempt at building a buggy. And it's done very well over the last 4 years of beating the snot out of it and
still being a drag axle. And one of the things that got us and me into the Wee Rock scene and the Supercrawl scene was to hang out with our friends Tyler and Logan more often. And that was a way for us to meet up with them and just kind of hang out with them, was to start doing the Wee Rock competitions.
Okay. And how did you meet those guys?
I met those guys at the very first Trail Hero.
All right.
I had met them on a trail with, it was Dave Polson and Ron Dog were leading and guiding, and George Zoros and Tyler and Logan were along there too. Following day, I snuck in on the trail going to the maze with Logan spotting me, and Tyler was in his side-by-side because he blew his Jeep up. And one of the first couple obstacles in there, Logan was trying to tell me not to drop in the hole about the time I dropped in the hole, and I rolled the 4Runner over.
Ah.
And that was when I knew that I had met the dumbasses that I needed to meet. And we have formed a bond that I can't explain, and I'm very thankful and blessed to have. Those two have taught me a lot. Tyler's an amazing driver, as well as an amazing person. And they have done a lot for us.
They are great guys. Absolutely. And
Yep.
whether they're working together or competing against each other, it's always fun to watch.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it is.
how did you get from, because I know you were still in Colorado, but you guys decided to move to Hurricane St. George area. And why make that move besides the
pressure.
great wheeling?
Peer pressure.
Yeah, peer pressure from Logan, Tyler, and Taylor, and the wives and other people that we had met along the way. We actually had a 3 to 5 year plan, which still isn't up. And
True.
last September, Laura, just one day September, she had come home from work and she said, I've had enough. I put in my notice at work.
So
we're going to be moving. So we came out to Trail Hero last year, and I had a job interview at a body shop, couple body shops down here, and she had a job interview at the hospital up here in Cedar. And we ended up getting the jobs, and that Thanksgiving, we packed up the house and moved to Cedar City.
Wow, excellent. Okay. And so you're working in St. George. Laura is in Cedar City, but you guys live in Cedar City.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I lived there with Rich and my daughter and my first wife until 2000. Moved out here halfway through Rich's junior year of high school. We left Cedar City. We lived over by Cedar High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually live just south of the Maverick on South Main.
Okay. Cool. So what is it besides that peer pressure? What attracted you to I guess it's just the wheeling.
The wheeling was a lot of it. Both of our daughters are 24. They're grown. They kind of bookend April. My daughter was born the 1st of April in 2000, and her daughter was born the end of April in 2000. They're both grown and on their own, and we decided it was time to live our lives and follow dreams and just enjoy life.
Plus, I had lost both of my parents within the same year, and I was like, what are we doing? We should just go and enjoy our lives.
Right. That's what we're supposed to do when the kids are gone.
Yes.
And that's what it's been over the last almost year. It's been we actually haven't done a lot of hardcore wheeling with the buggy other than competitions, but we've done a lot of razoring, and we bought a 53 M38 A1 Jeep as a toy. And we've had that out several times. We took it to Uray and done quite a few trails around, and we've had a lot of fun with that. And
you said a 53?
Yes, sir, 53.
It's so much fun.
Does it still have the original? Is it all original drivetrain, or?
It is not. It's all original on the exterior. The drivetrain is not. Okay. It has a V6 with a turbo 400 up to the T18, and it's got a Warren overdrive, and everything else is 100% original.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
I
an
had
old
a
air.
53 M38A1 as well. It had the Oddfire V6 in it and an SM465. And it was, man, that thing was so low geared.
Yep.
27 front axle, 25 rear axle, and ran when I first got it. I was running the the guy that had it before me, the Armstrong True Tracks that were out around. You couldn't do more than like 40 miles an hour in it because it would just rattle your teeth out.
Yep. Yep.
But it could wheel in the snow like nothing else.
Ooh, something to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had it in the mud.
Yes.
Yuck.
That was fun. That was so much fun.
Doing the Barracks Trail right after a big rain, and we were with Tyler and Dave Long doing that, just playing in the mud.
Nice.
Had a wonderful time.
That's awesome. So what is it that attracted you to the competitions and wanted to keep doing it?
Honestly, most of the biggest draw for both of us was the people.
Okay.
Yes.
The people that we've met doing the competitions and the Saturday night dinners and potlucks that the wives all put together. That was the biggest draw. The competition was fun, and we had a good time. We have a good time at it, and we love it.
I judged first.
And she judged first. She started judging in Supercrawl
Okay.
while I was competing, and then we started running our first full season of Sportsman B. I convinced her to spot for me for the first season, and we did good. Ended up second in points behind the Winters.
Right.
And then the next year we ran Sportsman B again, and we ended up national champions for Sportsman B.
Excellent. And was that when Laura got hurt, or was that the third year?
No, that would have been the second year
It
in
was the second year.
Baghdad.
Right, and you slipped.
I didn't slip.
Oh, you
No.
didn't. He just took the wrong line.
No, actually, so we had discussed our strategy for that gate. It was a monstrous gate, and I told him he could try the bonus gate a couple of times, and if he couldn't get it, then we would switch over to the regular gate, which people were struggling on because there was a lot of loose dirt there. So I had told him what exactly I wanted him to do, and he did it beautifully. He freaking nailed it. No cones, no nothing. Super excited. It worked. And then I went to back up away from the buggy so he could come through to go to the second gate, not realizing there was a big rock behind me. So I couldn't scoot back any further, and my leg got pulled under his tire.
Ah, okay, that's what happened.
Yeah, and he didn't run it over one time.
Okay.
You got to remember, it's a manual.
Right.
So after then, I had comms on, and when she was screaming that I was on her leg, I went to hit reverse, and I missed reverse the first time, which launched it forward again.
Ouch.
And then the second time, I finally made it into reverse. So I actually ran over her leg twice.
3 times.
Well, 3 times if you count the reverse.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember I was at the front gate and I heard the screaming, and I was.
Oh my gosh, you could hear me screaming
Oh
from
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, no. But it was like, oh my God, what's going on? And yeah, it was. I know that there's organizations that don't have spotters, and in the right kind of competition, I agree with that. In the trail breaker type of event, where everything is so big and it's hard enough to just walk, but when it's the more technical crawling, I think spotters are important. Otherwise we'd have to spread the gates out, and, it would be a lot different type of an event, and I'm not looking for that. I like the old school technical stuff myself, instead of the death-defying, huge stuff where, the risk is almost all or nothing. So
Yep.
I trade off the possibility of something like that happening over the totally killing a car as well. So Laura, I'm glad that you have healed, and
I mean,
you make sure that there's no rocks behind you now, right?
We
yeah,
take extra care of making sure I can see where she's at. It was a freak accident. It
it was. I don't blame him. It was just a matter of circumstance.
Right.
It just happened.
Yep.
But one of the things that we did get out of that was the amount of support,
Oh
overwhelming
God,
support
yes.
from the whole rock crawling community, not just We Rock, was just simply amazing. It was. I don't have words to describe how it affected us, and that was a very healthy, positive thing for us to get through that.
It was a blessing. But the whole training that they did to get me down, I have pictures of that. I was high on drugs, so everybody was like saying I was saying hi. But
And she really didn't want to do the helicopter ride.
no, I did not. They really drugged me up for that one.
Was it because you didn't think you were hurt bad enough, or you just didn't like the idea of a helicopter?
Probably, I don't know. I didn't know how hurt I was because looking at my leg, yes, it was really swollen and you could see some lacerations and stuff. But my calf was ginormous. And I'm not a huge fan of flying in general, but you want to put me on a helicopter while I'm injured. I can't do anything to help
Strapped to
myself.
a board.
Strapped to a board, looking straight up at the propellers. Needless to say, I had a little bit of anxiety, and they finally gave me enough stuff that knocked me out for the entire flight.
And they took that's Baghdad, Arizona, which is the end of the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
out in the middle of nowhere. And where did they take you?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay.
Hmm. But we didn't find out until like 3 weeks later because of the changes that were happening on my leg that I actually had a crushing injury. So it was like killing all the tissue in my leg.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I ended up having surgery and have had a big chunk taken out of my leg, but it's all healed.
Good.
I got the battle wounds to prove it.
She's a
Or the
rock.
scars.
She's a rock star. She was itching to get back on course that whole season.
I was. I don't like to just watch. I'd rather do.
Right. So
Yes.
she proved again she was why she's a keeper.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then she actually married me later that year.
Yeah, that's okay. At least 3 times now she's proven she's a keeper.
Exactly. And she really is. I'm super, super blessed to have her by my side, not just in the rock crawling world, but just in life. She's been a huge, huge improvement and help to me. She lets me be me and has helped me be the real me.
Couldn't have it any other way.
Excellent.
We have a lot of fun.
And what are some of the plans for the future? What do you guys where do you guys see yourself in, say, like 5 years?
Well, we don't look that far ahead.
Okay.
She plans everything. We honestly are just, we're living the here and now and enjoying life that we have. We did step up into the pro mod class this year, and she not super hip on it. She still has fun, but she doesn't feel like she's putting as much into the team and being
Helpful.
as helpful as she did in Sportsman with the technicality, because it is a lot bigger and we're more just trying to finish courses.
Right.
I've enjoyed it.
I'm sure next year will be better. It's just the first.
This was our first season. But we did well. We finished the season in third overall. Super proud of that. One of the proud moments for me from nationals was our last course. We were second to last. We followed Braxton and Jesse Haynes and Vic, and we were the first ones to complete the course without coning out or rolling over.
Very good.
Which was huge. And then Kevin and Caitlin followed behind us, and they were able to finish as well. And for me, that was huge, because I was looking at that first climb on that last course, wondering how that was going to go and expecting to be at the bottom, honestly.
Well, you take your wins where you get them, especially in that pro mod class, because we're stuffing you guys in on the pro courses, and they're not easy, even though the gates are wider, or there's they're not easy at all.
No, they're not. But it's made me a better driver,
right?
For sure. And we've been competitive this year. We've been pushing Braxton and Caitlin, and it's been a very super competitive season, to where one extra cone and a few extra backups have made the difference from first, third, and
right.
So it's been really.
And the more experience you get, you're going to tighten those up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the line you pick, although that is definitely, you have to pick the right line, but it's the strategy of, which cone do you take? Because you're going to have to take cones.
Which cones do you kill, and which gate do you feel and work the hardest to make sure you can clear?
Correct.
To finish the course in time.
Right. And then, where do you take a bonus? Where don't you take a bonus? Don't always play follow the leader, because that's one of the things I see all the time is people start playing follow the leader because, well, that car in front of me made it over there. That doesn't mean that you're going to make it there, or that it's going to be easier or harder for you. You have to know the terrain yourself and know your car.
And all three cars, or all the cars in Pro Mod, are so different. Between Braxton's car, the super narrow axles, I think he's 78 inches wide, was super short until they stretched it for Farmington. We're 82 and a half, 83 inches wide, 107. And then Caitlin, they're on 42s, and they're like 112 inches. So three very different vehicles that don't handle the same and don't do each obstacle exactly the same.
Right.
So a lot of fun.
That makes it more interesting, I think, at least for the spectators and even for yourselves. I don't want to say in the unlimited class it becomes follow the leader, but that Jesse Haynes Fab class is almost the cars are almost identical. There's nuances and stuff, but they still are really close. And every once in a while, at least when Jesse was running in that class, he'd always come out, a year with some new little trick that nobody realized was in the vehicle until about halfway through the season. But now that he ran Pro Mod, but he won't. It sounds like he's retired, so that's. It's going to be U3 again, it looks like.
Yep.
We really enjoyed having him in the Pro Mod class.
We did. It was
a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun having him and Chris down with us in Pro Mod. I know it was a struggle for him to try to run both the Unlimited and Pro Mod classes, but for us personally, we really enjoyed it. Had a blast with him there and learned some things.
Right. That's if you're gonna learn, you might as well learn from the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he has driven just about every class that we have. So, and Chris is a great spotter. There's no doubt about that. They work very well together.
He was nice and left some rock stacks for me.
That is very nice, because that's not a Chris move typically.
No, it is not a Chris move. Typically, he goes back and unstacks everything.
Yeah, that's for sure. he must have. He must like you guys. That's
Or
awesome.
he's just tired of running back and forth. One of the two.
I don't know if Chris gets tired, although he is getting older now. But the guy works out like nobody else does. So
Yeah.
so cool. So just status quo, moving on into the future, and living life one day at a time.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
We've been very blessed with the competition. We've had a core group of supporters from Colorado that consist of brother-in-law, sister-in-law that own a spa company there, and some friends, Heather Coburn and Smokin' Dave's, and another friend of ours, Jim, that are the ones that have actually made it possible for us to make every event financially. And that's been huge. That's something that we couldn't have done what we've done without their help, and we also were fortunate that we got picked up by Falcon this year, running their new stickies, and then all the other sponsors that we have, Summit and JM Rigging and Brannick and Yukon, Raceline, PRP. They're the ones that have made it possible for us to do what we've done and to keep doing it.
Excellent. And what's your plans at Trail Hero?
To have fun.
Yeah.
Finally get to go wheeling.
Yeah, that's our time when we relax and we go wheeling. We help guide a couple trails. Watch Logan and Tyler get stupid on the LCQ. Hope they make it through. They're also Tyler's doing the side-by-side shootout, and we're doing the We Rock competition on Friday.
Excellent. Are you going to hit any of the bands?
Yeah, we're probably going to hit one or two of the bands. We'll be able to hear them from our camp spot, I'm sure.
No,
we're staying in the sand pit.
There you go. It's hard to travel home every night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's actually nice this year because if I need to come home, it's just a 45-minute drive as opposed to 11 hours.
Right. Much better.
Oh yeah.
Well, but for us, Trail Hero is more about hanging out with the people that we've met and the friends that we've made, and just catching up. And it's our downtime.
Very good. Well, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your life individually and together with us, and giving me a chance to learn more about you guys. It's that's my favorite part about doing these interviews, is learning who everybody is and what made them to where they're at. And here's last question for you guys. If somebody was to walk up to you and say, "Hey, I want to get into this rock crawling thing," how would you tell them to do it?
Have fun.
No, how would you tell them to do it?
I would tell them to get into, whatever their budget allows, and find trails and people that are doing the same kind of thing. If they're looking to get into competition, get into the sportsman classes. They are amazing for teaching you how to drive, how to use your vehicle, utilize the tools that you have, and what tools that you may be missing.
Perfect. Laura, do you have advice?
Just enjoy yourself. Have fun with it. Don't beat yourself up. It's a great sport. I love it.
Yeah, if you let it get to you, that need to win, it can be daunting. And I know that's what a lot of the guys that have retired or are retiring, especially the guys that have been at the top of the game, they just feel that pressure that they have to win, and it just takes the fun out of it. Jesse said that in his retirement post, and I know that the same thing has happened with guys like Tracy Jordan, and it just became not fun anymore. And wheeling's supposed to be fun, and competition is much more enjoyable when you're at ease instead of having to bear down the whole time.
Yep, and that's when we found out we do the best, is when we just go out and drive and just have fun and not concentrate on points or where we're at. And that's when we do our best
Excellent.
and we have fun.
And who knows, in a couple years, if we get another buggy built, I might start competing.
There you go. There you go.
I'll only drive our buggy. So.
Yeah,
Right.
and she does drive it quite a bit. Like when we're doing trail guides and stuff, I'll be out spotting people and helping them get up through the trails, and she ends up having to drive the buggy up through the trails. She kills it.
You know, it's all about reading the terrain, and if you've been spotting in competitions, you know how to read the terrain.
The funny thing is she doesn't look at the terrain. She just looks at me.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. That works.
Well, I don't get a lot of opportunities to drive.
Okay.
So, I mean, I do look at the terrain, but I trust in my spotter because I know he's not going to let me roll.
Right.
I should probably just roll one time and get it over with so I'm not so freaked out about rolling it. But I mean, when I'm passenger with him though, I've told him, here, try this instead because I do watch the terrain.
She sees lines and she does real good with that, especially considering she hasn't been doing it for, a lot of years.
Right. Excellent. Well, guys, I want to say thank you so much for spending the time this evening. And I know you guys are busy with work, and you were on call, Lora, today. So I'm glad that call didn't come in while we were on this call. And I can't wait until the season starts again and see you guys hopefully down there in Baghdad.
Oh, we're planning on being there in Baghdad. It was an honor to talk to you.
Yes,
honestly,
thank you so much, Rich.
It was a surprise. And it's one of those things that kind of makes a guy or couple feel pretty good about themselves.
Well, you know what? You guys had a story to tell, and it ended up being much more interesting than I had imagined, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, and thank you for everything you've done.
No worries. You guys have a great evening.
You too.
You too. Tell Shelly hi.
We will. I will. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Well, that's another episode of Conversations with Big Rich. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you could do us a favor and leave us a review on any podcast service that you happen to be listening on, or send us an email or a text message or a Facebook message, and let me know any ideas that you have, or if there's anybody that you have that you think would be a great guest, please forward the contact information to me so that we can try to get them on. And always remember, live life to the fullest. Enjoying life is a must. Follow your dreams and live life with all the gusto you can. Thank you.